Hey, what's up, everybody? I'd like to welcome you to the Audio Programmer Meetup. And this is a place where we gather each month to talk about the latest that's happening in audio software development. And today we have some very special guests with us. It's the ADC team and also Tom representing Juice here with us. Very proud to have them here. We're going to be talking about ADC next month. So ADC is happening in Bristol and online from the 10th to the 12th of November. And for more information, be sure to check out audio.dev for information about the schedule, information about how to register. It's gearing up to be a really exciting conference this year, and I have the ADC team here with me to talk all about it. Before we start, just wanted to talk a little bit about our sponsors. They help to make the Audio Programmer Meetup possible. So big shout out to Focusrite, JetBrains, Juice, and ADC who are here with us today, and our brand new sponsor, Moonbase. So Moonbase is here sponsoring the Audio Programmer Meetup as well. If you're looking to for an e-commerce system to help you set up your plugin business, be sure to check them out. They're on moonbase.sh. And with that, we'll go ahead and dive straight in. So as I was saying, Audio Developer Conference, November 10th to the 12th. And we just wanted to get this session together to talk a little bit about what the conference is for people who may not know and what it's all about. So maybe I can hand over the mic to Bobby, Tom, and Sophie to take it away and talk about the Audio Development Conference.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, really appreciate you having us on the event on the TAP uh, podcast today. Like, I'm super happy that we're all working together, and I'm also looking very forward to welcome you again to Bristol. I know that that's just a lovely place to meet and network with everyone. If you're not familiar with the Audio Developer Conference, this is our 10th anniversary, so it's our 10th event following what was the Choose Summit. And if you're not familiar with it, it's an event to really celebrate everything there is about audio development technologies. So think of us as a programmers festival, but there are many different tracks you can take at the conference. So even if you are a hobbyist who really hasn't started your journey in coding or developing audio software, you'll find that there's always something there to interest you because we do have this concept of all levels talks and beginner talks all the way through advanced coding talks. So really it's a conference for the entire community.
So
Um,
I'll just jump in there. So this talks about hardware. There's a workshop on really performance coding. So it's really not just software development.
You have game audio as well with
And
your.
yeah, a game audio track for the first time. So
Mhm.
this year we had the most talk submissions ever, like by miles. Um, and Okay, this isn't directly related, but one of the outcomes of everyone voting on those talks was that enough game audio talks got voted into the program that we could dedicate a track to that. And so we're quite excited by seeing that be part of the conference this year.
Yeah, saw quite a few softer talk talks as well, things on marketing, getting hired, things like that. So yeah, it's fantastic to see a program that has so much variety. Going back to when I first started going to the conference, it used to be a little bit more set towards the developer side, hardcore C++ optimization, and it's nice to see the evolution of how things have happened over the years. The workshops is another part of that. Can you tell us a little bit more about the workshops?
I just jump back one sentence or so. We still have all of the software development talks, but we've as the years have gone, we've gotten more tracks. So we started way back 10 years ago, it's a single track, but now we've got four. So it's the fact that we have like there's a greater diversity, but we still have all of its original
Hmm.
content that made people like the conference too.
Yeah. How many talks do you have this year?
75-ish. I can't remember if that
Wow.
includes the keynote
yeah.
or not.
Yeah,
That's
if you
amazing.
combine that with I guess the workshops and the some of the poster presenters and ADCX, which is our lightning round kind of talks or format on day one, It's well over 85 speakers. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing, and it's such an effort. And that's really awesome. And it's more than even workshops and talks as well. You have posters as well. Can you talk a little bit more about what that's about?
Yeah, I'm going to pass it to Sophie. I think Sophie has had so much amazing interaction with those presenting posters and the workshops. Sophie, you've been so important to guiding all of those posters and workshops. Do you want to tell us maybe a little bit about who's, I mean, because I don't think many people even know who's involved this year. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So po the posters are very much technical, educational. We don't allow any promotional content, but they're on site for the full 3 days. And it's just a great way of breaking the ice and talking about some really interesting and nascent research um, from people who are often at the start of their journey. You know, they're often students or recent graduates, and it helps give them confidence and enables them to get feedback from more established and experienced people within the industry. More generally, I mean, this is my ninth year involved in ADC, and I'm proud to be part of this community, and it's become very special to me. Diversity is at the heart of ADC, and thanks to the support of generous sponsors, we're able to provide over 30 people this year with a free ticket to ADC in Bristol, plus many more with online access. And we've made a great deal of progress with diversity over the years, and I'm proud to have been part of that. Women in Audio has morphed into celebrating diversity in audio, and we have many more women and people of ethnic minorities speaking and attending ADC than ever before. But ADC is a community event with talks selected via an online vote open to all community members. It's an event for the community, by the community, and it's not for profit. Any profit generated by the main ADC event is used to finance our smaller pop-up ADCs around the world. And in 2026, I think we're looking at ADCX events in Copenhagen and in Tokyo. So please sign up to the ADC newsletter for all the latest information. And we've got lots of other stuff going on at ADC this year. Not some of this isn't online, but in person, we have the mentorship meetup. We have the Celebrating Diversity working lunch. And we've also exciting, this is quite new, a film screening about a guy called Mishi Mu and his journey as a blind musician and
Oh, wow.
producer in South Africa. There's also, as usual, a full
Oh,
social
man.
program, including the ADC quiz, the open mic night, and a social mixer offsite at a cool bar in Bristol, where we will have DJs and live coders, algo ravers, along with food and craft beer. Um, yeah, that's about
Oh,
it
man.
for.
DJing, I might have to jump on.
Yeah, join us.
There's a lot to unpack there. So yeah, we last year I think so we did move the conference. There's lots to we should unpack some of the things Sophie brought up there. So Sophie, since you've been involved with it for 9 years, we did move the conference from London to Bristol, and
Yeah,
so Bristol was our first year last year. And we thought, bringing live music back into the events is something we've been doing for years. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun to tap into the whole algo rave community that's pretty big in Bristol? And I think that was a big part of bringing that into the event with the social mixers. So, but also the move to Bristol was really important. We found that London was just becoming really cost prohibitive for a lot of students. It's they might be able to make it in for a day on train, but for a 3-day event, staying overnight, it's just kind of tough.
yeah,
And we found that Bristol really is very embracing to students and student culture. And so I think it really opened our eyes to we should be looking at other places to go in the UK that would have us and kind of support the audio developer community. And Bristol really does support the audio developer community. I mean, if you're into modular synths, I can't think of a better place to be in the world. So yeah, Sophie, I don't know if you wanted to talk any more about just how it's evolved over the years. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I think Juice Summit, if I might quote these numbers wrong, but I think Juice Summit probably started with about 100 to 115 people, if I recall, about 11 years ago. So it is pretty exciting. I think our numbers last year and the year before crested almost 1,200 people if you combine online and in person. So that's quite the trajectory. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the biggest change I've seen, apart from just sheer numbers, is the proportion of women and
Yeah.
kind of diverse groups being represented both in the audience and on the speaker panel. I remember in 2017, when I first was working on ADC, not a single woman was speaking, not a single woman. And that kind of birthed Women in Audio, which started in 2018, and that's kind of grown into diversity in audio. And that's been a really joyous thing to be part of, actually.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and Sophie, we should really mention also the work in accessibility that really
Yeah.
was kicked off by Juice and some of the releases of Juice 7 and being really important to the entire developer community for support for those who really needed help with vision impaired. This is really kind of an amazing launch for Juice, but also the way ADC made sure to start having workshops specifically around developments for accessible features in audio software and hardware, haptics, all of that area. And I think it was, Sophie, keep me honest here, maybe 3, 4 years ago, we probably introduced this concept of the accessibility zone,
Yeah.
where it was the idea of some of our sponsors to bring in hardware and software they've been working on and give small demos in an exhibit space. And I'm really happy to say that that's coming back for ADC 25. So next month, the Accessibility Zone returns, and this year curated by Jay Pocknell from Sound Without Sight. And we look really forward to that engagement. That should be a really popular spot in the exhibit zone.
That's
Yeah,
really
that's
exciting.
great, actually. And nearly all of our sponsors are contributing some kits to showcase at the accessibility zones. There's been great engagement with that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit more about the sponsors, about the companies that are supporting ADC?
Well, first, definitely go to audio.dev and see who they are. Uh, yeah, there's I believe, Sophie, we've got 20, just over north of 20 sponsors this year.
Mhm.
That seems to be on average about right each year. This year, we do have a headline sponsor, which is always exciting when someone steps up to be the headline sponsor. And that is Algorithm. So if you want to learn more about them, audio.dev/sponsors. And then our amazing gold sponsors, many of which who do workshops. Sophie, Tom, talk about sponsors. They're incredible. Like, well, we should say financially, this is not even a viable conference without their help. The whole conference is run as a not-for-profit. So if it wasn't for sponsors, it wouldn't be in person. The
Yeah.
sponsorship funds go directly to the event space, which is this lovely hotel in central Bristol. It's the Delta Marriott there on Castle Hill. And what you also have is all of the meals being included for our in-person attendees. And then, of course, there's a lot of just branding set up, as you can imagine, to host, 500 plus people in a space on 4 stages. It's no small task and comes at a cost. But also, there's the
I'd
AV.
just like to
Yeah,
jump in there because it's one of the things that we don't advertise very well is that the cost of in-person tickets include food, and actually that makes
yeah,
quite a bit of difference to the value you get out of it.
very good food
It's
too.
nice food.
Really good food.
It's it's put on by the catering of the hotel that we're in. And if it sounds like we're laboring the point a bit, you would be surprised at the total percentage of all feedback we get about the conference that is related to food. It matters. Um, and putting on food is important because it keeps people together.
Mm,
For a lot of people, me included, talking to people at the event is the best and most valuable thing about the event.
mm,
Um, if you've been there if you've attended many ADCs, then you see people attending their first one and then maybe coming back, and then before you know it, you've kind of accidentally got a large network of friends and contacts, and
mm.
seeing all of them again and making new ones is easily the best bit. Um, and I got sidetracked a bit.
But
Food,
from
Yeah.
all over the world
food is
too.
important.
Yeah, having those chats over a bowl of curry is
Yes,
perfect. Yeah.
Right.
yes.
Yeah, there's so much more that you do than just the talks as well. You have evening events as well that give opportunities for people to connect. And what I really think is exciting about ADC is this intersection that happens between people who are actively working in the industry and people who are looking to get into the industry and learn about the industry. I know for me, that was what attracted me the first year that I went as a student myself. Can you talk a little bit about
I was going
who
to
to
actually,
yeah.
Josh, could you talk a little more about that? Actually, I'm curious about your experience, coming in as a student and
Mm,
now you're coming in, as a business leader and also your journey in coding. I mean, all of it. Share some tidbits there because I think that's what I see too. Like there's a number of students who arrive with sometimes not even knowing what they're getting involved with, and I see them come back years later with a company. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm curious as your experience there.
Yeah, well, the first year that I went, which was 2017, I was still a student, and I came in as a poster, so it was as part of, so it was actually two things. It was one part was as a poster with Goldsmiths University, which was where I was studying, and I had a project that was an accessibility instrument, and uh, it was really exciting just to be able to take that idea and put it in front of people who are active in the industry, leaders in the industry that are movers and shakers, asking about the idea, making suggestions, just having that dialogue and being able to see that transition from something that I was just working on my own and to actually talking about it with people and that was very exciting for me. The other thing was that I had started the audio programmer about 6 months beforehand, and right around the time when ADC was going to happen, I actually got a message from Rachel Locke, who used to work for Juice, and she had said that the Juice team had been talking about my tutorials, hopefully not ripping them too badly, and invited me to come out to ADC to meet the Juice team. And that was very surreal. That was a very surreal experience for me, meeting Jules, meeting Tom for the first time, and just being there with the people who had done so many things, pioneering the software that thousands of people are using to create businesses, to create opportunities, and then from there, that actually propelled me into the first opportunity that I had, which was that I actually joined the ADC team out of university when I graduated in 2018. And I was working alongside Sophie and JB, John
Happy
Baptiste,
days.
and yeah, and it was at that time it was just us three putting it together.
Yeah.
We did that for a couple of years, and from there, one of the things through those years, just going from a student to a person who was getting into the industry was I just met so many people that ended up becoming, connections, ended up becoming clients for us, ended up becoming people that we placed into jobs because we run a recruiting company. So it was just this opportunity to have these touch points. And really, I think if you can manage to start those conversations and you can create those connections, like you were saying, Bobby, that last beyond the conference and really help solidify the foundation of you getting into the industry. From there, I think really it's just about the potential of what you do as a person to try to maximize those opportunities. But I think ADC is a great garden for those seeds to grow, really, where you can start those conversations and then try to maintain those connections. We so much of what we do is online nowadays, and there's nothing like, and I say this, having run the business now for about 8 years, which is that I think in-person connection is so important. It really doesn't. There's nothing that replaces it, and there's nothing like having that opportunity to see somebody in person, to shake their hand, to have a real conversation with them, or sit down for a coffee with them. And I think that experience is irreplaceable, and I think ADC does a fantastic job of that.
I think the networking aspect of it that you were touching on, like I wanted to say a little bit about that, and Tom, Sophie, I'd welcome your input too here. That is a core focus of the event. So sure, it's about the talks and the sponsors and the exhibits and creating a typical conference environment, but one thing we're really aware of is we want always the conference to be a friendly, safe space for newcomers to feel so welcome. Tom often talks about the Pac-Man rule that we always remind folks
Right.
of. With-
Yeah, I can't remember which conference we borrowed that from. Then they borrowed it from somewhere else. But basically, if you're in a group of people, you always leave a little Pac-Man mouth in that circle so people can wander up and get involved. And people can just wander up. You're allowed to just go sit on the side of a conversation. You don't have to speak. Just listen in, get
Mm.
some insider info, and that's fine.
Yeah, one of the other nice things is that ADC is a very kind of level playing field. We don't advertise people's job titles, so anybody can go and talk to anybody. It's not hierarchical, um, and it's a really kind of equal kind of community in that sense.
Right. And you have the mentorship program as well. That's a good opportunity to help facilitate those relationships. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
where's
I
where's
mean,
Derek where you need him?
Derek, who's part of our team, Derek Heimlich, he's the head of that program. He's done an amazing job. We kicked it off a few years ago, and it was a huge success. I think now we're well over 100 mentors and a couple hundred mentees. It resets yearly, so there's an application process that kicks off in the springtime, spring US, and I want to say around April, and it's open to anyone. And the idea is that we get in all the applications and we do our best to match up mentors with mentees. And so the idea is that you meet over Zoom a few times or less or more based on how the mentor mentee are getting along. And then we have essentially mentor mentee meetups where you get together. Some of them are online, in person, of course, it's encouraged as well. But it's a similar setup where we don't really care where you are on your journey, whether it's the mentor or the mentee. Everyone has something to share, a story to share, a journey to share, their network to share, right? So it's really just been a very successful program.
Yeah.
And so,
And you
yeah, if
you
you
I
have
want,
some
actually just this morning got an email from Dan Jones and his mentor in Lagos. And this guy, Emmanuel, told his story, and it was really truly inspiring. I must circulate it. I'm not sure if that could figure somewhere on this recording somewhere, but be
yeah,
happy to
maybe we
share
can
that
drop some
story.
links, to things in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
chat.
absolutely.
yeah, you have some very experienced people in
Oh,
that are
yes.
serving as
Yeah.
mentors.
Oh, yeah.
I think
It's a bit of a luck of the draw, but you could get someone running a company with thousands of employees, or
Yeah,
like
Mhm.
the head of your favorite bit of audio software.
Right.
Like,
Or
yeah.
yeah, or the DSP teacher of a major institution that
yeah.
teaches computer audio or computer music. Yeah, it's the gamut is huge. Even we even had a top music producer who is responsible for many of the top 10 musical acts for the last 20 years.
It
Um,
doesn't get much better than that.
it's all tied to the newsletter. So we do a good job of not spamming folks, but if you are interested in when these signups open up, definitely sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter is just a great way to kind of hear when the mentorship programs kind of open up and when you should be aware. Um, uh, to do the signups, but also it's important for the pop-up events that we do. So sometimes there's a pop-up event, where we'll try to say, look, there's a gathering of mentor mentees, but also the community meetups at this conference, in this country at this time. And so there might be some last minute things that catch people's eyes. But it also is used for promoting when the call for speakers open up, when the call for voting on the selected talks or the proposed talks opens up, poster sessions if you want to propose a poster. And then we talked about all these incredible volunteers that make this experience possible. We have lots of different signups through the year for volunteers, and that's another way to get involved. Volunteering is such a great way to get involved earlier before the conference begins. And Sophie, maybe you've been really the leader of our in-person volunteers for, I mean, as long as I
Yeah,
recall.
yeah.
Maybe share a little bit about just volunteering ideas and stories there, because our volunteers have just been the core of the conference. They really have been.
Seeing their progress through the industry has been really, really inspiring. People who come in and they're in the second year of their undergraduate degree and they're now working for ByteDance or Apple, and that is brilliant. And that's Oh, really, ADC has been fundamental in opening doors for them.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, every year I'm in the process of just kind of getting the final people for a team of about 22, 23 this year. Of course, they all get a free ticket, but they get to see lots of talks and, everything, get really involved in all the networking, but also help to kind of, ensure that the event runs as smoothly as possible.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's certainly a very, very positive experience every year for that group of people.
Yeah.
And that's
And
another nice thing about moving to Bristol, because we were always just using London-based students. So
mhm.
now we can use students who are from the University of Bristol and from UWE. So that's been, opening up the opportunity for them as well.
Amazing. And for people that can't get to Bristol, you have a fantastic hybrid conference experience. And can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, certainly, and also for the volunteers too, there's incredible opportunities for online volunteers and docents to help people around the online part of it. So, when you think of an online conference, I bet the first thing you thought about is a Zoom call like this, and you probably think that you're going to be sitting down for 8 hours straight watching talks on a Zoom call. That's really something we didn't want to create, but certainly something that had to be done when the pandemic was around 5, 6 years ago. We've decided to keep investing and trying to make the online experience special. So we've used a couple different platforms through the years, but for the last few years, we've stuck on the Gather Town platform. And what Gather lets us do is we try to recreate the exhibit space in Bristol in the online form. We try to recreate the stages in Bristol, also in the online form. We try to recreate the layout of the downtown of Bristol and the waterfront. It really is special. It looks a little bit kind of 8-bit video game like, but the idea is that it's interactive. And so we want you to explore spaces. We want you to explore virtual Bristol. And as you go into some of the shops in the downtown, we're hosting up meetups in there. If you go into the library in Bristol, you'll see that it hosts all the poster sessions. A lot of it's self-serve or, go, I guess consume as you go, look at some presentations or read the poster. But we also have dedicated meetups and poster sessions with the actual authors. So they're there in real time interacting with you. Instead of a Zoom-like world, it is this video that follows you with your webcam. So it is sort of spatial related, including audio. So you do get to sort of kind of come up and do a similar discussion like Tom was talking about the Pac-Man concept. You can also walk up to clusters of people and start speaking to them in this online form as well. So we really are trying to bring that same networking aspect, the exhibits from the sponsors, the poster sessions and those presentations, all to augment the fact that you're watching a presentation in a Zoom-like environment that is on a virtual stage. So hopefully all that comes together to create this very unique online experience that you want to be at. It also it embraces the fact that not everyone can afford to fly to Bristol and to get a full in-person conference ticket. So this is just a great way to attend the conference and really get the most out of it. And what you'll find is that the presenters will take Q&A from online as well. So you can queue up for the microphone just like you were in person. There's a virtual stage and you walk up to the microphone and you can ask your questions. You can also then get involved in the meetups. So it really just has this feeling that you actually are part of conference. Now, of course, you might be in a time zone that it doesn't work out to see certain talks. So all talks, as the moment they finish, they go into a library, a video vault, so then you can go in and do video on demand on any talk you've missed. So that's another pretty unique aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
What else? Did I miss anything, Sophie, Tom, on the online part?
Yeah, just one thing to say, it's not just restricted to the talks and the exhibits. There's
Right.
also the fun stuff, the social networking stuff.
Yeah,
We have the online quiz. We have a
right.
treasure hunt, so people can go around and kind of collect bits of treasure and kind of, win prizes. So there's digital prizes on offer as well. So, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of the community meetups are in Gather only. So
That's
that's
right.
the
Yeah.
in-person. Well, they if they go find a quiet space and a laptop, they could experience it. But that's
Mhm.
typically reserved for online people only. And I
Yeah.
just think because it's so much more accessible, the online community is arguably much more fun.
Yeah. We,
Yeah.
we really encourage the in-person attendees to always get involved with the online attendees because Tom's right. There's certain things happening only on the online portion of the conference, and everyone's ticket has access to the online portal.
Mhm.
But the interactive video is actually really interesting, so you get to meet more people that way. But there's also interactive chat, so we do an incredible job with the Discord server there. So you can actually drop into the green rooms and QA rooms of every single talk as they just finish. So let's say you didn't get a chance to answer your to ask your question even, and so too many questions. So you can jump in there and have a direct dialogue with the author of that talk or poster session. So you can get that interactivity there too. And we tend to keep that Discord up and running throughout the entire conference. We open it up just before, and then we close it just a few days after, and then we just put it into a frozen mode so you can kind of read it, but you can't interact, just to ensure that it's a good environment for everyone. Um, and it's similar to the comments that were said earlier in our embracing diversity, equity, inclusion. Anyone who wants to attend this conference should reach out and submit an app for the DEI scholarships because we don't turn anyone away. We want everyone to be part of this conference. And online is a way to be able to do that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And it can't be underestimated how much of a monumental effort that the ADC team are making towards making that online experience something that's beyond just attending some Zoom sessions. I think that it's something that I think that people need to see to be able to really understand what it is. But it is an experience that's just beyond, okay, going to a couple talks and going to some Zoom sessions. And I think it's really awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe in the comments section of this uh, meeting today, we could post maybe a link to just a quick kind of little video reel that kind of takes you through all the Bristol spaces online because you'll see just the attention to detail that was made to recreate downtown Bristol or the waterfront. The quiz pub night that actually occurs on one of the bars in Bristol on the waterfront. It kind of tries to recreate the inside of that bar as well. So yeah.
yeah. That's awesome. And let's talk about companies for a moment. So let's say
Yeah.
that there's a company they're listening to this and they're saying this is really awesome. I want to be part of this. How can they get involved?
I was speaking a lot. Tom, Sophie, you want to grab that one?
Want to
Uh,
go, Tom?
go to the website, go
Yeah.
to the sponsorship page. You can see there's a PDF on there that you can see which has all various options. But even if none of those is a particularly good fit for what you want to do, or it's something completely different. Like I always think we could do more performances, more actual music, more
Mhm.
sound. And if you just have a good idea for something you want to do, just email us. You'll find the email all over the website, and we're generally pretty receptive to try and make something work.
That's awesome.
I would agree.
And
Like there's something that fits for everyone, right? Whether it be the workshops or even if it's a special evening of, you have a technology that's applicable, let's say to live sound, we could work it out so that some of our live performances tap into that technology piece or presentation for that company. There is the incredible exhibit space that Sophie has put together. Sophie, do you want to just give a quick blurb about what the exhibit space is all about? What does that look like for exhibitors and what do they get?
Yeah, it's on site in Bristol, you mean?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the big change is that this year the senior sponsors they get actually presents and get exhibition space for the full 3 days because those on the day one that the workshops are taking place in two of the rooms. The silver sponsors only have visibility on day two and day three. So we'll have our senior sponsors, Algorithm, Dreamtonics, Focusrite, GPU Audio, and Juice present on all 3 days. And then we'll also, in addition to the regular sponsors, we'll have all the posters, of course, which we've already discussed, and also some kind of interactive installations, some crazy kind of movement related music installations, which are really exciting and really fun to play around with. Um, yeah, so it should definitely be quite lively.
I hope you have some drum and bass in store. That's a Bristol thing.
Absolutely.
Got to have some D&B in store.
Yeah.
We've
Look,
got loads
and
of D&B on 0 degrees on Tuesday.
We do. It's something we've been talking about. It's a missed opportunity. The conference does begin on a Monday, and we often say like we really should be better about figuring out what is in town in Bristol that Friday and Saturday night before, and try to see if we can have groups together. Because there's just an amazing music scene. It really is.
That's
We should be exploring that. But yeah, so audio.dev/sponsors. If you go there, right at the top of the page, well, first you'll see all the incredible sponsors that have joined us on this year's program. So Sophie's mentioned the gold sponsors. In the silver tier, we have the audio programmer, L Acoustics, Arturia, Moonbase is there. We have MuseHub, Roland, Avid, Celemony, Soundflow, and Pace. Yes, Pace iLock folks are there. And then another bronze tier, just so many sponsors, and many of them are all there exhibiting, giving talks, networking, and they really are there recruiting. So that's just such a big part of why sponsors get involved is that they have jobs. And so that's just should be another really exciting reason to want to go there as a student, or even just if you aren't looking for a job just yet, and you know that that might be your path in a couple years out of school, just to speak to the recruiters and get an idea of what they're looking for and what you might be missing. So I think that's just incredibly valuable. At the top of that audio.dev/sponsors page, there is a sponsor prospectus there where you can take a look at just all the different things that are available to sponsors and kind of how you can customize it to make it fit your needs.
yeah, fantastic. So 10 years into ADC, what do you see as the future of ADC heading into the future?
More people need to join the ADC team. It's growing. So it's growing in numbers. If I think back even just 3 to 4 years ago, ADC, if you asked me what it was, I would have said it's this yearly event where we get together somewhere in the UK, typically London. It was London. And now, fast forward 3 years later, we've now been in Bengaluru twice with ADCX India. We've been in San Francisco with ADCX San Francisco. We've looked at more pop-ups. We will be announcing ADCX in Copenhagen next year. We will be announcing the return of ADCX India in a different month, and some really interesting, just new ideas around what it'll look like in Bengaluru next year. We also have Sophie mentioned one I'm really excited about. ADCX Japan actually has turned into a full 3-day ADC Japan 2026. So that's June 1st through the 3rd in Akihabara. So very excited about that, and there'll be a lot more info hitting the website all about it as we get closer and past ADC Bristol next month, or this next month. We're still in
Wow.
October. Whew. But as you can imagine, all of those require a certain amount of mentorship to get them off the ground and running. With the ADC Japan, it's a larger pull. So you can see we need more volunteers, and if you have interest in running a conference or learning more of how you pull something like this off, please reach out to us. We're easy to get a hold of. It's everything is info@audio.dev, and that email is posted on the audio.dev website. And if you also sign up for the newsletters, you'll see that we often put that in there as well. So easy to get a hold of us, and we would love to hear from you. We'd love to get you involved as a volunteer. And there's just always room for one more person to help out. I mean, I can't tell you how I am in debt to Tom and Sophie to the amount of work that they have put into this conference. Sophie represents everything in person about this conference, and everything from taking care of our speakers, our sponsors, I mean, catering, the list goes on and on, volunteers. So, Sophie, I so love working with you, and this conference would not happen without Sophie. That's just be very clear. And Tom handles all the stuff that no one wants to do, which
Oh,
is
it's
things.
deeply unglamorous. Yes.
Yeah, Tom is
The invoice
Mr.
man.
Finance man, ticketing systems, receipts, and dealing with VAT, which changes per country sometimes, and then also changes why the UK shifts gears right in the middle of our sequence, and we have to change things. And but Tom really works so hard on that back end, and you don't
with
have
the
others.
occasional rant about Brexit.
Oh my gosh, exactly. Exactly. And then not to mention, when you do these pop-ups and we go into different countries, they may not use the same ticketing system because it's
Mhm.
banned in their country. So then you're forced to use something else. So we have to be clever there. And similar with finances, they may not use the same way of dealing with banks. And so you basically learn how to do these events as you go to different countries. And that's also I'm sure those who do events probably are used to it, but it's a lot of work, to say the least. And then we're missing a few folks on this call today. We work really closely with a AV company called Digital Medium, and they've been involved with ADC now for years, and they are directly responsible for just the genius collaboration of AV in every single one of those stages, streaming all of that AV on those stages. And we do have four stages going on simultaneously. And that team is making sure that there is not a drop frame, drop microphone, that the sound quality is good. It really takes a lot of work, and I
And
feel
he also they also mainly take responsibility for building out the exhibition floor on the Gather Town as well,
that's right.
which is really important and a lot
Abs
of work
absolutely.
and a great deal of attention to detail.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we have a lovely gentleman named Ralph who does all of our graphic design and artwork. So right up behind me with these lovely cords going through my brain, it looks like one in it, one ear out the other. Um, uh, Ralph, and Ralph does just all this amazing artwork and has designed this 8-bit Bristol land and things like that. Derek, that we mentioned earlier with the mentorship program, but also does all the kind of fun networking events. Like he'll host the quiz nights. And so, yeah, just the team is incredible. We couldn't do it without a team. So if this interests you, join the team. It's the only way we can expand more. I do want to do a shout out to those that help us do these ADCX events, the pop-ups we just mentioned, um, Bengaluru, Copenhagen, Japan. We don't do those events. We help shepherd them and kind of help. We become team members to another team, and those are actually volunteer teams. So if you are part of a vibrant audio dev community and you want to see an ADCX happen at your university or city, it is as easy as just writing to info at Audio Dev saying, I want to do this. Like, help us out. How do we do it? And it takes some work. I mean, often we'll have someone reach out and we explain what it takes, and they'll be like, "Nah, I don't think so." But but if you're game, we do things like introduce you to how you would do a call for papers and what that looks like, and how you raise funds for sponsorship, and we really kind of mentor that whole process through. So you could say that our ADCX pop-up kind of is its own little conference mentoring program. And so I'm so thankful to everyone who's been involved, making sure that we do more events throughout the world, because it's helpful. They again, like, that's not for profit. No one makes money on these, but what you make is a friendship pool that just keeps growing. Before I was involved with ADC, I had a pretty good amount of friends internationally. That number has grown by 1,000x, I feel. It's impressive. People really want to stay in touch, and it's just great to have friends all over the world. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Cool. Is there anything that we missed? Once again, ADC happening 10th to the 12th. You can come out to Bristol and hang out with us, or you can attend online. Be sure to check out audio.dev for registration and schedule and everything. Sponsors, get in touch, audio.dev. Anything else that we've missed?
I think that's all the good bits.
I think we said we'd keep this call short and snappy.
Short.
Yeah. Only an hour.
But a little long, but you get so excited, I guess. There are, I guess, to say, like, there are student discounts. So if you're a student, we do offer a very generous discount.
Yeah.
And then same for indie companies too. So I feel like there's a good spot for everyone. Yeah.
Fantastic. Cool. And with that, I think
Josh, thanks for the opportunity. I mean, this is great. We
yeah,
love the program,
We're
yeah,
and
looking
thanks.
forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on. It's been really cool having you here. Another exciting year at ADC. I mean, it's been since 2017, so that's 8 years
Yeah.
running that I've been coming out. So yeah, it's always a great experience, and super excited to get out there again. So thank you very much. And yeah, with that, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up. Once again, big shout out to our sponsor for helping making this meetup possible, Focusrite, JetBrains, Moonbase, Juice, thank you, Tom, and of course the ADC crew. We're looking forward to seeing you in Bristol in November. So yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah.